Welcome in, everybody. My name is Blythe Brumleve with GuysGirl.com, and I want to show you how you can have a stress-free Disney trip with your girlfriends. Let's get to it. So you want to do one of two things. You really want to do 5 things, but I'll get to it. So the first thing you want to do is you really want to save time when you're at Walt Disney World. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things to see, and sometimes people can get way overwhelmed with all of the stuff that there is to see, and it causes a lot of stress. Take that stress off of you. Download the My Disney Experience app. It has everything linked to it. You can link your park tickets. You can reserve your fast passes on time. You can even start to register your little magic band, which is the magic band that you put on your wrist. This little gadget gets you into every hotel room. You can charge everything that you buy at the parks, everything, food, drinks, merch. You can charge it all on this little card, and you use it to scan your fast passes. Basically, you don't even really need an ID. You don't even really need a wallet unless you're going to be drinking at the parks, which in that case, bring your ID, because when you're surrounded by thousands of little kids all the time, you need a drink, right? So the other thing that I want to tell you about saving time too is those fast passes. You really only get to reserve up to 3 fast passes per day, but if you plan them far in advance, and you can really scout out your entire day. Say you want to go to Animal Kingdom first thing in the morning, but you want to check out all the animals before it's too hot for them to be doing anything and they're all over in the shade. So maybe you want to check out the safari, hit up the safari, check out all the animals, and reserve your fast pass for the Everest roller coaster ride for later on in the day when all the animals are in the shade, or they're eating, or they're trying to sleep or whatnot. Make sure that you use the My Disney app experience, because it will save you so much time. And if you think you want to ride something at another area of the park or at another park, then you can actually check out the live wait times right on the app. I tested this myself last week when I was at Walt Disney World, and they are to the T as far as wait times. The signs that you see right out in front of the ride that tell you the wait times, it's the exact same time that you're going to see on the app. So save some time, de-stress a little bit, plan a little bit as much as you can beforehand, and then that way you can make the rest of the day easy peasy. The next thing you want to do anytime you go to Disney World is you want to save money. You want to save a lot of money, because Disney can be a little pricey, but if you're a Florida resident, you can get a 4-day pass for like $200, which the going rate for Walt Disney World for just a regular day park admission, I think, is around $120 now. So if you're a Florida resident, you could save some serious cash by just bulking up the early change, pay the $200 for the ticket. Even if you're only going down to Walt Disney World for 1 day, all you have to do is use those passes later on throughout the year. A lot of times these Florida resident discounts are good for 4 days, but they're good, those 4 days you can use over a long amount of time. So 3-4 months, possibly even 6 months. I've heard sometimes you can even use them until the end of the year. So there's lots of flexibility of ways that you can save money when it comes to the parks. Another option is taking a tour with the Walt Disney World Vacation Club. Now, the Vacation Club is basically a spruced up timeshare, but with the timeshare, you go to one of Disney's off-site locations, and I actually got to do this myself. So when I was down there last week, I got to take a little tour of the Vacation Club. It has all of these different amenities. You get discounts on rooms, you get discounts on tickets, you get 20% off all merchandise, 20% off all food, you get special member perks. Yes, there's a price tag associated with it, but you're going to pay one sum, and you can finance it over 10 years, I believe, and then you're going to pay your annual dues like any other timeshare. But the Disney timeshare, you can use it for discounted rates at all Disney resorts, and then you can also use it. They work on like a point system, and so you use certain points. You get allotted certain points every single year for the lifetime that you own this Vacation Club membership. And after you use up your points, you can borrow against it in the future. You can rent some from 2 years from now and use it for one big trip, or you can spread it out all over. But even if you're not wanting to buy the Vacation Club immediately, if you go do the tour, they'll give you $100 gift card, and plus they'll give you 3 VIP fast passes, which means in addition to the fast passes that you already get from Disney every single day, you're also going to get 3 VIP fast passes, which means you can use them at any time of the day. There's no limit to them, and so it makes you almost feel like a rock star that you can sort of walk around the park and ride any ride you want and wait probably about 10-15 minutes and just walk by everybody everybody else that's probably been sweating and dripping, and probably they've been rained on, and they're all muggy and grumpy and waiting in line behind some snotty-nosed little kids. And not all of them are snotty-nosed, but you know what I mean. You know that feeling whenever you have a fast pass and you're walking past everyone else and you feel like the king or the queen, and you're about to hop on this ride immediately and get your little energy boost jolt, and then you can go to the rest of the park at your whim. Oh, one quick thing too that I wanted to jump in there about saving money at the park. Don't buy water at the park. You can bring your own water and you can bring your own food into Disney parks. A lot of people don't know this, but what we did, my girlfriend and I, whenever we went, we bought these collapsible water jug. I don't know what you call it. I got it at Walmart. It was like $3. It holds a liter of water, doesn't leak. And when you're not using it, you can roll it up and it fits right into a purse. It fits right into a backpack. It has a little hook on it too, but the hook kind of broke, so maybe you want to get another little hook for it, but it can hook right on. We hooked it right to our fanny packs when we walked around, so it allowed us to have sort of a hands-free lifestyle while you're walking around at Disney, and then you also have access to water the entire time you're at the park. Bottled water can be very expensive. I don't even know how much it costs, but I guarantee it's at least $6-7 for just a bottle of water. Buy one of these for $3. This lasted my entire trip, and I think I'm actually going to be using it during football season too to save money at the stadium, so I don't have to buy bottled water at the stadium. So after you save time and after you save money on your trip, or at least try to as much as possible, what you want to do next is start to take in a little bit of the intricacies that Walt Disney World has to offer. Now, you can get to the parks through monorail, you can park your car, you can stay on site at a Walt Disney Resort. That gives you access to extra magic hours too. So if you want to avoid waiting in line in the super long lines, you get extra magic hours, what they call magic hours, and you can go to the park and you can attend the park when only other resort guests are there. We went to Animal Kingdom and the Flight of the Passage, which is an incredible ride, but it just opened, a little over a month ago, and people were waiting up to 6 hours to ride this ride. And I'm sorry, but I no matter how great a ride is, which the Flight of the Passage is, I'm not waiting 6 hours. I'm not waiting 3 hours for a line. So what we did instead is we waited until the magic hours started occurring, and it was like 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. So we went to Animal Kingdom later on in the night, waited about an hour to ride a ride that other people were waiting hours and hours to ride. So these little tiny hacks are ways that you can make your experience much less stress-free. I guess that's a good phrase. I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, you want to also start to take in a little bit of different travel options besides the monorail and besides the buses that go from every single resort. Try the boat service. In an area of the Walt Disney World resorts, there's an area called the Boardwalk, and that's where the Swan and Dolphin are. Those aren't Disney resorts officially, but they're on-site Disney properties. There's the Disney Yacht Club, which is where I stayed. There's also the Disney Beach Club, which is right next door. Then there's the Boardwalk Hotel, and then the Boardwalk itself is this long strip of restaurants and Disney shops and just a cute little atmosphere. They have a piano bar there too. There's a bunch of different things to do there that you don't have to have park admission to get into. But what's really cool there is that if you stay there, or if you just feel like taking this option, but they have a boat service there, and you can take the boat and you can take it in to Hollywood Studios instead of taking the bus. The boat is so much nicer of a ride. It's really enjoyable, and you get to see a little bit of Mother Nature before you go into any of these other parks. And I believe you can take the boat over to Epcot as well. The yacht club was so close, it was within walking distance to Epcot, so we didn't actually take the boat to Epcot. But if you wanted to, if you were on another area of the boardwalk, which is a fairly large area, and if you're walking around for miles and miles, you might just want to take the boat across the damn lake just so you can avoid that extra probably mile and a half that you have to walk in order to get to Epcot. But try the boat service. It's a really, really cool added atmosphere. And that boardwalk area too, it's incredible. We also went to the ESPN Club. A lot of people can say a lot of bad things about ESPN these days, but I personally loved this restaurant. They had in the bar area 35 TVs just in the bar area. And it's not these little rinky-dink TVs. They're huge TVs everywhere. And they have jerseys and everything hanging up. But one of the coolest features I've ever seen in any bar, and I don't want to say one of the coolest, probably the coolest for any female sports fans out there, they had TVs in the girls' bathroom tuned in to ESPN. And not only did they have TVs in the bathroom, they had TVs in each stall. So if you were the type to have to go to the bathroom and have to stay in there for a little while, at least you have a TV above your head that you can watch instead of being buried into your phone or whatnot. Normally, anytime you go into a women's restroom, they're not going to have TVs. And if they do have TVs turned on, it's tuned into like a soap opera or some bullshit. But now at the ESPN Club, you can get some great food, and then you don't have to worry about missing any of the action if you happen to be watching some college football games or some NFL action or baseball or whatever you like to watch. You won't have to worry about missing it because the TVs are on in the women's bathroom. Next thing you want to consider whenever you're planning your stress-free Disney trip is that you want to find some time to get away from it all. There are a few little nooks and crannies within the world of Disney that if the park is particularly crowded that day, you can get away from the crowds and sort of enjoy an intimate experience with Disney. One perfect example that I have is when we were at Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is packed right now because Pandora, Land of the Avatar just opened. So there's a ton of people, and it's part of this vision that Disney has where they're trying to turn Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios into full day parks instead of half day parks. A lot of the time, especially for me in the past, I've gone to Animal Kingdom, I've rode the safari ride, I rode Everest, and then I got the hell out of there and I went to the parks that I really love and I really enjoy, and that's Epcot and Magic Kingdom. But with the addition of Pandora to Animal Kingdom, they've since turned it into a full day park. So what we did in order to get away, because Florida weather, things can happen. People are going crazy because they've been stressed out because they didn't properly plan their trip. So what we did to get away from it all a little bit is we went to a place called Tiffin's, which is right beside the Land of Avatar in Pandora. And it's a beautiful landscape. It overlooks a lot of lush greenery, a lot of palm trees. And we had this fabulous, we had some Korean barbecue wings along with some wine, which wine and wings sort of kind of goes together, I guess. We had a lot of that and we just hung out and just cooled off, and the place wasn't busy at all. They had great food, great service, and we chilled out there for a little bit. There's another place that was in Animal Kingdom, which was really surprising because a lot of people think that the best food in Walt Disney World complex is found in Epcot, right? Which is somewhat true. But after Animal Kingdom has really stepped up their game, because we also went to a restaurant called Yak and Yeti. And Yak and Yeti, I think it's in the Everest area of Animal Kingdom, but they have a little a food stand, which it's a quick service food stand. You can walk right up and you can get food and drinks there. But they have a restaurant right next door. And I don't think it's an official Disney restaurant, but they're just located inside of Animal Kingdom. You walk inside, they normally accept reservations only, but they do accept walk-in appointments upon availability. Since they open up at 11, if you show up right at 11 a.m., you can walk right in and sit right down. And when I say I had the best fish tacos I've ever had in my life, they were the best damn fish tacos I've ever had in my life. Also, shrimp, the bangin' shrimp was incredible. There was also some, we had another masala tiki, I think, or tiki marsala. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not. But that was delicious as well. It was a welcome break from, because around 11 a.m. is when the crowd and the park really starts getting to be bustling, and in the Florida summer heat, you want to take a break sooner rather than later. So Yak and Yeti and Tiffin's, both in Animal Kingdom, were spectacular. And then speaking of taking a midday break, Florida weather is unpredictable. Anytime from, I would say, March to October, you're probably going to get rained on at some point during the day. That's just the way our weather works. It's sort of tropical, it's a lot of humidity, and you have to prepare for those elements. So my girlfriend and I, we strategized our days around the storm. When we saw the storm starting to come in, that's when we went back to our hotel room. We got freshened up, took a little bit of a break, and then came back when it was still slightly raining, but going to clear up soon, because that's when, guess what? A lot of the families leave. Shorter wait times for everything else. Less, the crowds get sparse, and you can get on some rides without having to use your precious fast passes. And then the last thing that I wanted to tell you guys is about, this was a girls trip, and I've never really had a girls trip to Disney World. I've gone with friends in the past, but it was more or less like, let's just stop in, let's have a little fun at Magic Kingdom, and then we're on our way. This was planned, this trip was the first one that was planned with one of my best friends, Her and I are both Disney fanatics, and so she went a little, I don't want to say overboard. I thought overboard in the beginning because I've never been sort of this girly of a Disney type. I usually like to keep my Disney subtle, hint, hint, subtle. But for me, she went and she bought these beautiful crowns off of Amazon. And what did we do? We took these crowns and we walked around Magic Kingdom all day long. And I cannot tell you the power, and you hear the change in my voice, right? It's like the minute, you know, the gif of Cinderella when she's in like her rags and riches and her sisters had just torn the dress apart and she's crying and she's upset, and then the fairy godmother comes in and she just magically turns her into a beautiful princess. That's what you feel like when you put a damn crown on. I've always been sort of the tomboy type of my group of friends, and I'm like, I'm not wearing no damn crown, but my girlfriend said, I'm buying a crown, we're gonna wear them. And I just said, okay, that's fine. Put it on, bam. It's like your whole world changes. And then you're walking around goddamn Walt Disney World, Cinderella's castle's right there, and you're like, let me just move in. I already looked the part. Let's just make it happen. So if you embrace your girly side at Disney, there's really no other place to embrace it, much like at Disney. Another really cute feature that I don't think enough adults take part in is what's called the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Now, normally it's for little girls 12 years and younger, and what happens is that in Cinderella's castle, or there's another location at the Disney Springs. At Disney Springs, there's a location and Cinderella's castle. It's called the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. 12 years and younger, you can set your little girl up, you can put her in there, she can get a makeover, get a little princess gown, get her hair done, get a tiara, and glitter all in her hair, get her makeup done, and she looks so cute. I'm so incredibly jealous of these little girls that get to do this. I've always thought it's a little bit ageist that I'm not allowed to go in there and do this, but hey, that I'll fight my battles where I can. But if you go into the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and ask for pixie dust, what they'll do is they'll take a little wand with scented glitter. You cannot buy this wand anywhere because I've looked, but they take a little wand with scented glitter and they twirl it over your head and they shake a bunch of glitter in your hair and they say, bibbidi bobbidi boop, all your dreams come true. And it's so cute. And then they have a little mirror. You can go in and you can look. I took this, they put so much damn glitter in your hair that you could shake your head and glitter would fall down. Like, that's how I like my Disney experience now. I want to be covered in glitter. I want to be wearing a crown. And I think this is what I'm going to do until I'm like 80 years old and I'm taking a wheelchair through the park, getting handicap passes and get to the front of the line anyways without any damn fast passes. Still gonna be wearing a crown, still gonna have glitter in my hair, and I think I still have a little bit of glitter in my hair. I've washed it a few times since the trip last week, trust me. But there's still a little bit of magic left, but it's a super cute way to just sort of embrace the child that's in you. And I grew up on Disney. My girlfriend grew up on Disney. We're both fanatics about it. And so we really, really enjoy these little added tips. And one quick thing that I have to mention is that it's free. This is free to get the Disney damn glitter on your head. So it's well worth it. Even if you've had a couple drinks over at Disney Springs and you stumble into their boutique over there, you can certainly take care of it there. Just ask for some pixie dust because the Disney employees are more than happy to take care of this for you. There's also another little thing. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed. One little quick side note is that at Animal Kingdom during the Mount Everest ride, there's a part of the coaster where you go up to the very top and then it goes backwards. But at the moment that you're at the very top, there's hair ties everywhere, like off to the side. I don't know why it started, but you go up there and there's literally hundreds of hair ties, like the hair ties you wear on your wrist. They're covered on the damn mountain. It's like somebody took pennies and it's like the pennies in a fountain, but people are taking hair ties and throwing it up on Mount Everest. I tried to look up the reasoning for this. I couldn't really find out anything. They said it's basically that one person did it and then more people started to do it, and now there's literally hundreds of hair ties at the top of this damn roller coaster. It's kind of weird, but it's also kind of cool. I didn't get rid of my hair tie though because you need it when you have the neck sweat in the middle of Florida and it's gross and you need the hair just off your damn neck. So I wasn't getting rid of my hair tie, but it was kind of weird, kind of cool little girl spin on Animal Kingdom. Now, in closing for this video, I just wanted to sort of give a brief recap of my personal experience with Disney. I grew up on it. I love it. I've been obsessed with the culture ever since I was a little girl. I grew up going to all of the parks. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, so it's a pretty quick commute for my family and I in order to get down there. And I actually worked there briefly for 3 days. I was in my early 20s, I actually traveled around the country, and I ended up in Orlando. And I ended up in Orlando for a short period of time. A life event forced me to move back to Jacksonville. But it's been really cool to see my career sort of come full circle, in which that I started working for Disney, and everything that I was going to do for Disney, I've done for GuysGirl. I wanted to pour my heart and soul into working for Disney. I didn't care where I started. I got a job as one of the photo pass people, or the photographers in the park that take your picture. And I didn't care where I started out. I was going to work my way up to the top. And everything that I put into my company, I was going to give to Disney. But like I said, a life event forced me to move back home to Jacksonville. So it's been really, really awesome, and sort of a life perspective moment for me to be able to look back on an opportunity that I was given at Disney. I wasn't able to seize the day with it, but so many years later, I'm now able to cover stories for them and bring it in a way that I've always envisioned, and do that with GuysGirl for Disney. So it's been a really, really sort of awe-inspiring, pinch myself kind of moment. This was a trip of a lifetime, and I cannot wait to go back and experience more trips like this and to cover more stories, including the new Star Wars land that should be opening up in 2019. By the way, did you hear that they're going to have a resort as well that's going to be completely character driven? That means you get assigned a character the minute you check into your Star Wars resort to accompany the Star Wars land that's coming to Hollywood Studios, but the employees at the resort are going to stay in character the entire time. So I'm really, really looking forward to that in 2019. And I think that there's a lot of stereotypes out there that say, like, you as an adult, you shouldn't be allowed to go to Disney World without children. I say screw that. I'm going to be going for as long as I possibly can, because the biggest reason is the devil's in the details, and Disney knows that. Every single level of service, from the janitors to the top level hotel executives, they all have a smile on their face. They all say hello to you. They're all incredibly friendly and welcoming and helpful. The customer service that you get through Disney is unmatched. And you don't realize the little Disney details until you go and you stay at other places, or you go to other amusement parks, and you just realize the intricacies that Disney just dominates. And so that's why I'll be a customer for the rest of my life. And if any of you people are out there and you love Disney and you love being able to embrace the child that's inside of you, go for it. Go to Walt Disney World, go to Disneyland. Even though Walt Disney World is better, go to one of these parks and experience that Disney difference. It really does. It really does have an impact on your entire trip. And one last thing, because I know that anybody who's been to Disney as of late, you really want to hear this on a regular basis, but I want you all to have a magical day.